So we will ask in turn each of our inductees to come forward. I will read their bio and they will come forward on our orange carpet, make some remarks, then we will pause for a picture and move through the group. When we get to our team, which will be inducted, just the representatives who are going to speak, please come forward, and then at the end of their remarks, if the representatives and the entire team that are here will come forward for your picture, that would be great. When we finish all of the individual remarks, then we will have the actual induction, very formal, very formal, very formal, and finish with a whole group picture at the front. All right? All right. I do ask that you hold your applause until I can read the bio for the inductee as they are making their way forward. Each class of inductees, this being the third, is chosen by our Hall of Honor committee from a list of nominees submitted by members of the Caltech community and thoroughly researched within the best of our ability. We have continued to make every effort to identify meaningful candidates and shine a spotlight on the major achievements in our past athletic history. Many of you have played an integral role through those nominations of your peers and assistants in completing our archival record, and we want to thank you for that and ask for your continued help. So with no further ado, our first inductee in the athlete category is Jim Hamrick, class of '86. Jim is the most lauded player in Caltech baseball history, having earned all SCIAC honors all 4 of his years and set 10 single-season and career program records in 1985 alone. A 2-time winner of the Alumni Baseball Trophy, he also earned the John C. Peterson Freshman Trophy and was named the Caltech Outstanding Athlete as a senior. Jim made first-team All-SCIAC once and was recognized by the conference as a catcher, pitcher, and utility player at least once each. He still holds 8 program records, including both single-season and career marks in runs, RBIs, and home runs. Please welcome Jim Hamrick, class of '86.
The first time giving a speech in probably about 25 years, so bear with me. Hope I can get through this without freezing up. Ever since I was informed that I was going to be inducted into the Caltech Athletics Hall of Honor, I've been trying to figure out what I would say. So I thought I'd just start by telling you how it was that I came to be at Caltech and what baseball meant to me in my time here. I had a lot of success in high school. I was the valedictorian in my high school, and I played on both the varsity baseball and football teams. I really had no idea what Caltech was. I only applied here because one of the guidance counselors at my high school encouraged me to do so. So when I was accepted, I was happy, but I'm not really surprised because for me this was just all a continuation of the success that I had in high school. I had no idea up until that point in time that I'd been living my life as a big fish in a small pond. My high school had no calculus class, no AP classes, and so when I arrived at Caltech, I found out that I was the proverbial dumb jock. I was placed into the Caltech remedial math section as a freshman, and for the next 4 years, Caltech taught me humility. On a daily basis, I struggled to keep up with all the brilliant people around me. I was worried that if I took any time away from my academic pursuits that I was going to fail. And so I opted not to play football at Caltech, and I almost opted not to play baseball as well. But I changed my mind and I did play baseball, and I'm so glad that I did. it turned out to be my salvation while I was here. My sense of self-worth was taking a beating from the academic struggles that I was going through. But when I was playing baseball, it was like restoring balance to my existence. For me, and I imagine for most athletes, when you're competing in a sport that you excel in, it just feels good. I wasn't always winning, and in fact at Caltech I wasn't often winning. But I was trying to be the best baseball player that I could be. When I did well, my teammates and coaches cheered me on, and I felt successful, and that made all the difference in my mental outlook. With baseball to support me, I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and kept plugging away. I graduated from Caltech in 4 years with a modest but acceptable GPA, and then made my way out into the world. I can't thank the Caltech baseball program enough for what it gave me, and I'm going to try. To my coaches, Scott Dorrance, Dan Bridges, and to John Doria, thank you for all the time that you spent helping me to be a better ball player, and for your willingness to work in an environment where the deck was stacked against you, and victory wasn't going to come easily or often. In fact, in my 4 years of playing baseball at Caltech, we only won one game in league, and it was a 9-8 victory over McKinnon College. And you bet that I remember that game. To my teammates, thank you for the time that you've also devoted to practicing and playing the game and helping me succeed. I wasn't doing it all by myself. Those runs and RBI records that you might be reading about, that was my teammates helping me out, helping me to succeed. Finally, both the past athletic department staff from my era and the current athletic department staff that are here today. Thank you for supporting athletics at Caltech and for working to create the environment that makes all of this possible. And thank you for the honor that you bestowed upon me today. This means a tremendous amount to me. Thank you.
Great leadoff hit. Excellent. We got one on base. All right. Cailin Sibley, then Cailin Henderson, class of 1997. Competed at the NCAA championships in both cross country and track and field, becoming the program's first ever female representative in track and field, placing 115th in the country in cross country. A three-time first-team All-SCIAC cross-country runner, she placed fourth in the NCAA West Regional 5K and claimed the individual SCIAC title in the 3,000 meters, running 10:06:78. Anyone else want to try that? 10:06:78 is still the program record by more than 30 seconds. Cailin finished her career ranking second all-time in both the 5,000 and 1,500 meters and still ranks second and fourth, respectively. She led the cross-country team to its first winning season in 1995 and served as team captain of track and field for 3 years. Cailin Sibley.
Thank you very much for inviting me here today. I honestly am incredibly flattered and humbled to be here. I had a chance yesterday to walk around the athletic fields, and I think it's probably been over 10 years since I've been here. And I took my 3-year-old, and I appreciate that you opened this up by talking about bragging, because one of the best things about having a 3-year-old is you can brag all that you want. You will not be judged. So I took him around and I showed him where my name was on the wall and asked him if he was proud of me, and he said yes. And And then I showed him the award I was most proud of, my All-American Award, and asked him if he was proud of me then, and he said yes. And then he asked me, Mommy, did you win a lot of races? And I said yes. And then as we walked through, he goes, Mom, why didn't you play volleyball? I'm like, I'm a little vertically challenged, and I said, why, honey, why are you asking me why I didn't play volleyball? And he's like, that was the best trophy. Like, thank you. So we then walked outside, and I went to the track. And the truth is, similar to what we were just saying earlier, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to say today because it was a long time ago, and many of the memories have gotten a little bit rusty. But when I walked onto the track, I felt right away, my heart started thumping, and it was amazing to me how absolutely I remembered exactly what it was like when I was running at Caltech. And in addition to the anticipation and the excitement, I also felt very grounded. And I know that a lot of what people talk about at Caltech is the academic experience, and rightfully so, and being challenged to a point where you never knew that you could be challenged, and somehow figuring out how to get through this. But for me, I think athletics was just as important in terms of teaching me drive and dedication and setting long-term goals. And if I were to give my son the true answer about if I won a lot of races, yes, I did, but there were others that I lost that meant a whole lot to me. And I do think that through my experience in track and cross country, and some of those losses have caused me to refocus, train that much harder, and then work to achieve my goals. And that has been something that's been incredibly helpful moving forward. So I really do appreciate that. Of course, I have a lot of people that I would want to thank, and the first that come to mind would be my coaches, so Coach O'Brien and Coach Benet, who guided me through those years. My teammates who were there for me as well. But the person who I would thank by far and away the most was my best friend and my biggest supporter over those years, and that's Dan Kleinman. And I was quite struck as I was looking at the awards. As I was walking through the awards, his name showed up just as much as mine as a multiple Kayak champion and national qualifier. And sadly he passed away a couple of years ago from a very rare cancer. But I know this would mean a lot to him, and I'd like to believe that he is listening. But on a more positive note, so my son actually is here today. He's back there. He's the one that keeps running around. There he is. And I've given him my mitochondria, and I also bought him the Tommy 3 DVD series. So that's my legacy right there. And I thank you all very much for having me here. Once again, this is a huge honor. It means a lot to me. Our third inductee in the athlete category is Chris McKinnon, class of 1983. Chris accomplished the rare feat of qualifying for the NCAA championships in each of his 4 years at Caltech, swimming a total of 9 events at the national meet. One of just 4 swimmers in history to represent the Beavers on the national scene, he placed a high of 4th in the 400 IM, along with 7th place finish in the 200 IM, and back-to-back 8th place finishes in the 400 IM. Upon completion of his career, the 6-time Kayak champion held 14 program records simultaneously, and still retained 4 entering this year. One of just 2 former swimmers to earn the Campbell Trophy all 4 years, and a 2-year captain, he also starred on the water polo team, earning all Kayak honors 3 times and 1 Coach's Cup, capping his career with the Caltech Outstanding Athlete Recognition. Please join me in welcoming Chris McKinnon.
Thank you very much. I noticed on the program here that it says I graduated in 32. So either I'm 106 years old.
Well done.
Yes. Or I haven't graduated yet. Okay.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you. So, yeah, then I looked on the next page and it says Chris McKinnon, 83, and there's this picture of this person, and I don't recognize him. I guess that was me a long time ago. Wow. Anyway, on the pictures here, one of those pictures there was myself, Clinton Dodd, coach, and Bjorn Mathias. So just as a little humorous story here, the first year I came here, I'd come from Montana, which had swimming, and I think out of 50 states it ranked about 60th. So good swimmer Montana came here, and things were a little faster. So anyway, I managed to qualify the 400 IM that year, and Bjorn, to help me out, lent me his swimming cap, which I'd never worn before in competition. And so he gave me this thing, it was made out of some sort of rubber material, I don't know. And wore that in my first national appearance, right, Clint? Remember that, And the thing sort of spent the whole race going up, 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 up. And the crowd was, when is it going to come off? And finally it did. So needless to say, that first thing was, that first meet was quite a learning experience. So I spent the next year swimming with the coach who was here before Clint, Ed Spencer. He was a coach at the El Monte Swim Club, which became Industry Hills, and worked out with those guys and came back the next year and to coach back. So anyway, I would like to thank all the people who have helped me get to that point, particularly Clint. Really enjoyed our time together, both going to the national meets and playing water polo as well. So I never played water polo before, and Clint taught me everything. So thank you very much. And there's a lot of people involved with organized sports. It'd be impossible to name everybody who helps out, and so really the support that I'm getting belongs to everybody. I'm just taking it home for safety. Thank you.
Right, moving through. Folke Karl Skoog, one of 3 documented Olympians in Caltech track and field history. Folke was a 3-time SKYAC champion in track and field and claimed 1 cross-country title before going on to represent his home country of Sweden in the 1932 Summer Olympics, hosted right here in Los Angeles. During his collegiate career, Folke set track and field program records in the 1 mile and 8 80-yard runs twice each, as well as the 3-mile record in cross-country. He won his only cross-country title and completed the 1 and 2-mile track and field double at SKYAC as a senior. Following his athletic career, Folke pioneered a number of breakthroughs in plant physiology and earned his PhD in biology from Caltech. He continued his career at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where he taught and eventually co-published one of the most cited papers in plant tissue culture. His extensive list of accolades includes a National Medal of Science, election as a foreign member to the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences, and membership in the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Here to speak for Folke today is his grandson, Eric Shepard. Eric?
As Chris pointed out, Folke would be actually 107 in here. I think they might have transposed some of the dates in the program. First, my whole family and I would like to thank Caltech for the honor and the invitation. I was very close to my grandfather, and for me this is a special chance to see where he came of age and became the person that he was. Caltech was very dear to me, and even the opportunity to lead the wonderful life that he did. Caltech helped transform the penniless immigrant son of a Swedish farmer to a world-class scientist who won the National Medal of Science. He spoke so fondly and often of his time here. He never tired of telling stories, and we never tired of hearing them. Listening to him talk about taking chemistry classes from Linus Pauling or sharing moments in the cafeteria with Albert Einstein was a thing of the past. He truly thought of his place and his time here as idyllic. And I don't think it's a terrible stretch of the imagination to see how coming from rural Sweden, Southern California might seem idyllic to a young man, especially in winter. As much as he spoke about the academic experience and the people who he knew here, he spoke about running. For all the academic medals he displayed, he also proudly displayed a collection of running medals and awards, equally impressive. The running career that began here in Pasadena took him to 2 Olympics. As Betsy mentioned, one in 1932 here in Los Angeles as a competitor, and to Berlin in 1936 where he watched Jesse Owens run from the stands as a former athlete. But what stood out most vividly is that well into his 90s and the sunset of his life, he still never got over the fact or completely forgave the pesky Frenchman who allegedly tripped him, costing him a medal in the 1932 Olympics. My entire family, my brothers, my mother, and especially my 97-year-old grandmother, Folke's beloved wife Birgit, who's watching at home, I'm are grateful for the opportunity to thank Caltech. We are the indirect recipients of the gifts of education and opportunity this institution gave my grandfather. So thank you very much.
Job in the whole world. All right, moving on. Gregg Wright, class of 1969. A 2-time All-American and 2-time Skyac champion in the 200 backstroke. Gregg became the first Beaver to represent Caltech at the NCAA championships in 1966 and 67, placing 10th. Beside his 2 individual titles, he recorded a further 5 runner-up and 2 third-place finishes between the 200 back and the 200 and 400 IM. He also swam the backstroke leg of the 400 medley relay that placed 4th and 6th at the NAIA Nationals. He served as team captain, won the Campbell Trophy once, and set 5 different program records over his career. Gregg also started on the water polo team, garnering first team All-Skyac and NAIA District 3 honors once, while leading the team to a 2nd place finish. A co-captain as a senior, he also earned the Coach's Cup and was named Caltech Outstanding Athlete. Gregg went on to receive his MD from Case Western Reserve and MED from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, and now works in child welfare in a variety of educational settings. Also an accomplished Masters swimmer, he has recorded several U.S. Masters top 10 times in his age bracket. Gregg Wright.
Backstrokers are great.
Backstrokers are.
Right. Well, thank you, and thank you for emphasizing in your age group. I also wanted to correct Chris, who said she was here a long time ago. Practically none. No time at all. But a little bit of background first. When I came to Caltech, I had no idea what I was getting into. Caltech did not have a very big footprint in Lincoln, Nebraska in 1964. When I was looking at colleges, all I knew was I didn't want to go to the University of Nebraska, where my older brother and sister went. I had to have a good reason to go out, so I would not know about Caltech except if it had been the Technological Institute of California, because I only found out about it reading through the college entrance handbook, and I got to the C's. Caltech was there. My advisor at my high school had never heard of Caltech. Oh, I've heard of MIT. Is it sort of like that? So first point, I had no idea what I was getting into. Second is smog. I can't talk about being at Caltech without talking about smog. I was here 2 full weeks, took the train to Los Angeles, took the bus up to Pasadena, went to school for 2 weeks, and one morning on the way to school, I remember it where I was and when I was. I had no books in my hands. I looked up and somebody moved the San Gabriel Mountains in. I had no idea this was not. I actually thought this was a flat plain, just like Nebraska. And there they were, and I rarely saw them during that time. And my coach in high school taught me the important athletic lesson, which is that pain feels good. But he didn't mean the pain in our lungs when we were swimming. And that's, we had that. It was a handicap, I think. And then one other thing I want you to understand is the long shadow of football that water polo and swimming were in. I mean, the football team were getting 100+ people at their games in the Rose Bowl, most of them on the 50-yard line. When the football team won, which they did once while I was there, the Caltech newspaper said Caltech Beavers beat UCSD 34-31. The inside story says it crushed them. Beavers break the streak, destroy UCSD. That was their first and last year of football. I think they're maybe thinking of reinstituting it, but have forgotten about that 1 year they had. The inside story there, the story says that Caltech water polo team swam hard and down to Occidental 7-4, and then lost a hard battle to Claremont Harvey Mudd 5-4. But the headline says Claremont Harvey Mudd swims to a win. This is the Caltech paper. So it's hard to be behind the football team. And when we won that one game, we had a bonfire on California Boulevard, a huge bonfire. We were chanting around the bonfire, we're number one, beat SC. So that was football. I did have an SC moment because we did swim a dual meet against USC. At least we thought it was a dual meet. And I won the backstroke event in the dual meet. And I felt really good for about 3 minutes until Coach Gregg told me, they swam their breaststroker in the backstroke event, not the backstroker. So for us it was a meet, and for them I think it was just a fun Saturday afternoon. I really want to thank Caltech for this honor. It really is an honor. And I also am glad that they named it a Hall of Honor and not a Hall of Fame, because if I had gotten invited to be in the Hall of Fame at Caltech Athletics, I would have thought, maybe not famous, but a Hall of Honor, and that's good. And in the name of honesty also, I have a question for Betsy. When I graduated, I got this nice plaque. And it was for having lettered 4 letters in swimming, and it entitled me to admission for life to all home athletic contests in which California Institute of Technology participates. So I'm wondering exactly what was the cash value of this? I don't know. Anyway, I was honored then too for that. I was glad to have that. So it is honestly an honor to be here, and I want to thank Caltech Athletics for lots of things. One, I probably wouldn't be at Caltech if it weren't for that. As I said, I had no idea what I was getting into. Small school, all male. Oh, that's probably okay because the Beach Boys and the girls, that was going to be okay to me. But when I came out and looked at it with my dad, I was a little bit worried, what am I getting into here? And I have a very strong memory of going over to seeing the swimming pool. A swimming pool with lanes. My high school swimming pool, it was 20 yards long and 5 lanes. So that looked pretty good. Coach Emery, I met, and he's really a nice guy. And my memory, walking back from the swimming pool to the campus, was going by the tennis court and seeing guys playing tennis. Some of them even with girls. And I had this thought, oh, this might not be so bad here. I mean, there's girls and there's people playing tennis. They seem pretty normal. I had no idea that they were probably the married graduate students. I'm sure they were not the undergraduates. But anyway, because of that, I came. And I want to thank them because I stayed. I went from here to medical training, and I know the importance of the exercise that I got during Caltech. I didn't get that during medical school, so I also know it from its absence. But that was really important to me, to making it through the stresses of Caltech. I just think I might not have been here if not for that. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank you for the lifelong friendships that I have. That's really my most important thank you. Martin Pelzor's here. He was the freestyler on both the relays and both of the NAIA national meets that we went to and all during the years. We've been best friends he's my best friend for 50 years. And it was 50 years ago that we were swimming our first season. And that's been really important. He's here with his wife, Kathy, and I want Cailin and Sonia both to know how important Kathy was in your life, because Kathy was one of the 9 or 10 women who were recruited by the Student Research Project to come spend time at Caltech. We didn't have any women in this club, but 2 years later, some of those we actually got to audit classes, and 2 years later, when they voted to admit women, they couldn't say that women would wreck the place because they already were here. We had them, in classes, and so Kathy was really a forerunner of that. Also, some really important friends that one, Johan Brink, I don't see much anymore because he moved to Norway and then in Australia, but was a very important friend. And Larry Hunt was a breaststroker on our team. I see him periodically and keep in touch with him. So that's really been an important part. And I also want to thank the athletic department for getting me into the master's program, because I'm pretty sure that if high school swimming was just one of those things I did in high school and then didn't do again through college and medical school, I just don't think I would have done master's swimming. But master's swimming has been really important. It's a great institution. I had the opportunity to swim in the 15th FINA Masters in Montreal, which is the World Masters. I was near the bottom of my age group, which always is nice. I used to like to be at the top of my age group, and now can't wait till next year because I'm in the bottom of my age group again. But 2 stories from that meet I want to tell, because they seem like Caltech stories to me. One is, I didn't see this, my wife did, and she's here, and I want to thank her for her support of my masters too. But I was on the ready bench for the 200-meter backstroke in this, people from all over. We'd already kind of, the guy from Egypt that was probably going to be one that might be close, that I might be in the same range, but the other ones that I know I couldn't be up with. But the 92-year-old from Australia swam in the heat above me in the 90 to 94-year-old age group. And when he finished, my wife watched him come out of the pool, and his son came and gave him a bag of veggie chips. Why do you give someone a bag of veggie chips when you just finished at 92, the 200-meter backstroke? Well, he told my wife, well, I got a contract to sponsor veggie chips. And when I get on the stand, I think it's okay. I think it's legal in Masters. I don't know. But when I get on the stand and they ask me, how did I get second place at 92, I'm going to say veggie chips. It was second place out of 2. But that doesn't matter. He showed up to there. And the other story from that meet was that night we went out to dinner. My wife and I went out to dinner. And we saw ahead of us being seated at a nice Italian restaurant down the street from the hotel. A woman with straggly hair, looked pretty old, kind of disheveled. I really could imagine she was homeless, and I thought, what a nice Canadian thing to do, to let her come in, even though she may not be able to pay her bill. Let's seat her. She seated, we seated, and we started meals. She had her soup. She fell asleep after her soup. And then I noticed her FINA tag. She was a competitor in the swim meet. So I went over and talked to her, and I said, "Oh, I see you're a competitor. How did you do today?" And she brightened up like nothing else, and she looked at me and she said, "Oh, I was so disappointed. I'm at the bottom of my age group. I really had high expectations. So hard for me this morning. I just didn't do as well as I wanted. And I thought, you know, I can swim a 50 meters if I have a dive, a butterfly. I could never do it in any other order, and I don't do it very often. I could not swim 100 meters for a 400-meter individual medley. And here this woman converted herself from maybe homeless to definite hero. And then she started telling me about her English Channel swims that she did, and, you know, I thought, this is amazing. So the lessons that I got from Masters, I thought about them. I was thought about them at that meet. I didn't recognize them, but now I know they're Caltech Athletics. They're things that I've known from Caltech Athletics. One is that 80% of the credit I gave myself for swimming in that world swim meet came from just showing up. 80%. I think showing up there, that guy, that 92-year-old, he showed up, he gets 80% of the credit. Out of the remaining 20%, 80% of that is doing your best and finishing. So, you know, I felt pretty good I could do both of those in all three of my events. Then you have a little bit more time, a little bit more, 20% of that left. That's all just having a good time, having fun. Martin and I, when we went to the Nationals both years, I don't know why these stand out, but we had a good time. We put up a kite in northern Illinois the afternoon before the meet, and it was still flying the next morning. Well, that seemed pretty neat. Both meets in Illinois and in Minnesota, I have no idea why we did this, but we collected data while the national anthem was playing to see, you know, how long is it going to last, you know. I don't know. We probably had an idea of what we were going to do with that, but we, you know, that was kind of one of the things that a techer thinks about when they're starting at a national meet. So show up, finish and do your best, have a good time. That's most of it. There's probably 1% left to us if you get a medal or if you get a place or if you do something that, you know, that's not so important. I set a goal for about 20 years to beat Tom Lane's record. Tom Lane's a Nebraskan who happens to hold the record for the 100-meter backstroke in the 100 to 104-year-old age group. So my goal, show up, you know, do my best. Maybe I can get there if I can show up. But I've honored the message that both my coach here said and my coach in high school said is don't peak too early. So I haven't really started intensively training. Anyway, it is, I went from middle career back to Nebraska, and I'm at this, and finished my career in 24 years at the University of Nebraska. And I'm quite proud of a lot of things at the University of Nebraska, even their football team, you know. But one of the biggest disappointments I've had about the University of Nebraska is that in the late 90s, they gave up men's swimming. They don't have a swimming team anymore. They have a women's swimming team, Title IX and all, but they don't have a men. They said we can't afford to give enough scholarships to get a winning team, so we're giving it up. That seems like that's just totally backward. One of the things I'm most proud of Caltech is when I hear they turn themselves into the NCAA and say, you know, some of our athletes maybe technically weren't eligible because and you compare that to all what happens with college athletes all over athletics. That's Caltech. That's what college swimming should be. And it's just not everywhere else. I wish there were a way we could do that for college athletes all over. But thank you to Caltech for the honor. It is a true honor and for all the things that you're going to do for me. So one more thing. Martin, how did I do? Oh, gosh, so good. Trying to do 5, but...
Show up, my notes. Show up, have fun, do your best. Got it, I'm learning a lot. All right, 2 to go. We'll have our team inductee now. 1953-54 men's basketball team. The members were Fred Anson, Bill Chambers, Dan Chilton, Jack Chow, Phil Conley, Jim Kuntz, Paul Lindfors, George Madsen, Gene Nelson, Howie Shanks, Dick Smith, Jim Tyler, team managers James Higgins and Milton Kimmel, and Coach Carl Schei. Before I have the members who will be speaking for the team come up, we should pause to say thank you to those who are not with us. Thank you. Bill and George, come on up and have some words for your team.
So I'll have to wing it. First of all, I'd like to recognize my family members. My wife lives in 56 years. I've got 2 tables down there with my 2 daughters and 5 of my 6 granddaughters. The 6th one is Megan. She's in Afghanistan in the Air Force. 3 years ago, I drove over to Caltech in my dad's car. I was transferring in after a year at JP Junior College. I had to take an entrance exam after I completed an engineering physics class at USC, of all places. So it was late in the year when I got a notification and there were no rooms available. But when I got over there, somebody hadn't showed up, so they moved me into Dabney, gave me a room number, and I found out that there was no room in the room for my bed. Was out on the porch, along with 10 others. No screen, no railing, and you're up 3 floors. And it was interesting as I got moved in. I did meet my roommate for 3 days because he studied in the library or did something. I never know where he was. And to think back, there was basketball. We had 12 players, best team players I've ever seen. Top coach, and no gym. We practiced in an armory downtown. Well, I didn't have a car. I know Fred and some others did, and if I could catch them in time, I'd get a ride. So I got over my $10 bicycle, and I could make it as fast as I could drive it on my bicycle because I could cut through the alleys. If I hit a red light, I'd make a quick right turn. But then I had to remember coming back whether I brought my bicycle or got a ride. Otherwise, my bicycle's in the wrong place. But we had an interesting year in the armory. The reserve units marched on the floor, and it was dirty and very slippery, so we had to put wet towels about every 10 feet around the gym. Every couple of minutes, we go and clean the water shoes off. And I think it's noted in there somewhere where we scored 120 points in the game. That was in that gym because the other team couldn't stand him. But it was unique because our home league games were at Pasadena City College. We had some interesting times there. One time there was a big pilot on the floor, and I think it was Bill. Came up with the ball. Somebody yelled, "Touchdown!" And there was another time where we had a real close game. Bill came dribbling down, saw the time was running out. He took a half-court shot, hit the front of the rim, went up about 10 feet, dropped to the basket, and that won the game. Bill held up. Never a doubt. But we had an interesting crew. Of course, we had Fred Hansen as our center, leading scorer at the conference for 3 years straight. And on top of that, it was the best team player I ever saw. And being small, I had to do a lot of faking. Sometimes it takes him out too. But then at times, I'd get his eye and I'd take a shot. And it would come down about 3 feet wide of the basket. And he'd grab it, the rest of it wait for the rebound. Of course, there were other times that's the way the ball went. It wasn't part of the play. But I didn't have good eyesight, so coach told me if you're going to take a shot, make sure all the guys are ready for a rebound. That was the best rebound they could ever play. I did have one lucky shot one game, the ball ran down the court. I ran like crazy. Asked John Whitaker, who was on the Folke College team. I played high school ball with his 2 brothers. But I got to the ball just as I went out of bounds. So here I am in the air, I got the ball. So all I threw it as hard as I could, hoping somebody would come up, maybe make baskets. Well, they went up over the backboard. But our players started Shanks was hard with me because he was about 6 inches taller, quite a few pounds heavier. When he would drive, people would move out of the way. When I would drive, they'd close in on me. And then I'd pass off to one of the big guys. And Jim Tyler was an high jump. When he got his mind fixed on that basket, wasn't a real clever dribbler, but he went straight. Only trouble is sometimes people are in the way. And he would knock them slam. Then with Fred, well, he was slippery. He was all over the floor. Then with Fred Hansen, he wouldn't drive. He would back up and make an overhead shot. And he never shot unless he was sure, maybe. But it's with that team, we lost 2 league games, 3 points each. Of course, we won by 2 points and won by 3 points. It was a real balanced year. At the end of the year, we played Folke College, beat them by about 24 points or something. And my folks lived in Claremont. And as usual, I invited the whole team down for cake pie ice cream. My brother was on the team, and he brought some of the promoted players. But Fred called the LA Times because we were tied for league championship. And the team that was tied with us lost. And that gave us a sole championship. But it was a great year with a great bunch of players. And a great coach, Karl Skoog. I didn't find out till later. He was on the Olympic team back in 1936. And won a gold medal. And they played outside and it rained. You couldn't dribble on one end of the court. Anyway, I've taken over.
It's kind of tough during the last speaker without any adjectives to laugh. But I did want to mention to Gregg Wright about group golf. I have one of these that I got when I graduated in 1955. It is a wooden plaque, lacquered, very beautiful, weighs about 2 pounds. My wife carries it in her purse just to get it. But I think you should get your money back. Before I say anything else, I need to answer a question that I know is on all of your minds. And the answer to that question is no, I can no longer dunk the basketball. I tried again this morning and it didn't work. I am deeply honored and humbled to become a part of the permanent history of this great institution. I know that why we are celebrating today in a field that is not necessarily why this is a great institution. But then 30 plus Laurel candidates, one on the way. But there's only one basketball championship team. That's kind of neat. I enjoy that thought every once in a while when I hear so many of the academic achievements of this wonderful institution. What has really impressed me as I have followed Caltech Athletics for quite a while now is, and other people have mentioned this, is the involvement of the undergraduate student in the athletic programs. Back in my day, I think the percentage of student participation in athletics couldn't have been much more than 1 or 2%. And I understand we just heard today is around 30%. I think that's wonderful. It's a tribute to your administration to see so many Caltech athletic teams participating and succeeding. Back in my day, as I think has been pointed out, our basketball coach, his day job was head of the narcotics division of the LA Police Department. So coaching basketball was a part-time job for him. Bert LaBrucherie coached both football and track and field. There was no such thing as an assistant coach. And the one other administrator that I can think of, and Dick, correct me if I'm wrong, was Hal Musselman, who was, I think he carried the title of athletic director. In fact, he's the one. My wooden copy of that is signed by Mr. Wilson. And I will always treasure it. This is Gregg Wright. It's a great institution. I am proud to be a part of the Hall of Honor. I hope to live up to the expectations that brings with us. And I thank you all for being here. And good travel. God bless.
So I've gotten taken away with the moment. I forgot to read you the accolades of this team, and then we have a short video clip from another team member. The 1953-54 men's basketball team won the only outright conference title in program history. is the SCI crown with 6-2 record, a high water mark for wins that stood until the 15-16 team's record 7. Caltech was led by first-team All-SCIAC wing and Rhodes finalist Fred Anson, second-team All-SCIAC forward Bill Chambers, and second-team All-SCIAC guard Howie Shanks. Anson, a member of the inaugural Hall of Honor, class of 14, held the program career scoring record for 40 years and still boasts the highest points per game average with 20.7, and in a season, 22.8. Coach Shai boasted quite the resume as well, having earned the gold medal at the 1936 Summer Olympics after playing his college ball at UCLA. While serving as the coach at Caltech, he was also a captain of the LAPD, the men's 1953-54 men's basketball team. Quite a group indeed. Do we have the video from Jim ready? Okay, please look at your monitors.
My name is Jim Coates. Living your entire life, 2,000 miles from Caltech, was not conducive to being a real active Caltech alumni. And having 3 children of horse greeting is not the same either. Go west, young man. Washington is not a prize and honor to receive a letter high Caltech Athletic Department describing their relatively new to me anyway, Hall of Honor. And they're choosing me for membership in it. The last event that I was able to attend at Caltech the 30th reunion in 1986. I regret that my health at age 81 prevents me from attending the induction this year in 2016. I've always been interested and active in some kind of athletic activity. I attended Burroughs High School in what used to be China Lake, California. This is where the Jim Coates. I'm speaking to you from my home in Spring Hill, Florida, which is around 40 miles north of Tampa. The American author Horace Greeley is accredited with saying, "Go west, young man. Washington is not a place to live in. The rents are high, the food is bad, the dust is disgusting, and the morals are deplorable. Go west, young man. Go west and grow up with the country." In the spring of 1956, Jim Coates was a young Caltech mechanical engineering graduate. In Pasadena, California, he was already at or near the country's western boundary, so he boldly chose to go east and make the best of it. And for the next 56 years, he and his family have been Indiana Hoosiers. Jim was really a Buckeye from Columbus, Ohio, but he didn't quite get back to his roots with this particular move. Living your entire life, 2,000 miles from Caltech, is not conducive to being a real active Caltech alumni. And having 3 children attend Purdue University does not help much either. It was truly a pleasant surprise and honor to receive a letter from the Caltech Athletic Department describing their relatively new to me anyway, Hall of Honor. And they're choosing me for membership in it. The last event that I was able to attend at Caltech was the 30th reunion in 1986. I regret that my health at age 81 prevents me from attending the induction this year in 2016. I've always been interested and active in some kind of athletic activity. I attended Burroughs High School in what used to be China Lake, California. This is where the United States Naval Ordnance Test Station is still located next to Ridgecrest in the Mojave Desert, approximately 150 miles north of Los Angeles. It was there on a Sunday afternoon in early 1952 while I was suited up for a high school baseball game, when Caltech geology professor Bob Sharp showed up to interview me as part of my application to Caltech. The game was in the 3rd inning and we were winning. The interview didn't stop the game, it just took place between innings when we were at bat. I was both naive and fortunate in that Caltech was the only place that I applied to go to college. I played both basketball and baseball at Caltech. I was fortunate to be a member of the 1954 Caltech basketball team that won the SCAIC championship, and the 1956 Caltech baseball team that won the SCIAC championship. As we age, the short-term memory seems to fail first, and sometimes later, or perhaps never, we lose our long-term memory. In 1955, the basketball team played the first game in the new Scott Brown Gymnasium. We defeated Cal State Long Beach, which was a new school playing their first year of basketball. We won that game by a narrow margin. Today, Long Beach State has an enrollment of some 37,000 students. How time changes. One other good fortune I had at Caltech is that I roomed in Fleming House for 3 years with another sports-minded kid from Fresno named Phil Conley. We influenced each other in a friendship that has lasted over a span of many years. In closing, I thank you for being remembered. I wish you all a successful day and all the success in the future where athletics play a continuing vital part in the life of Caltech students.
And now for our final inductee. Coach Bert LaBrucherie took the reins of the football program in 1949 as well as track and field the following year, embarking on a 25-year career which ended with him also coaching cross-country beginning in 1968. His tenure was highlighted by the football program's 4-3 record in '57, its first winning season since 1945, and a career 107-105 record in track and field dual meets, including a second-place finish in the conference in his first year. Bert led the football team to a fourth-place finish in 1951, its best in 10 years, and its first SCIAC win since 1946. He helmed track and field to its best finish, second place in the SCIAC since its '42 title, in addition to a remarkable 6 program records from his time still stand. He compiled a 13-27 dual meet record over 5 years coaching cross-country. The extensive list of elite athletes he coached includes 6 who have already been inducted into the Hall of Honor, 4 of which are here today, in Manny Bass, Alan Kleinsasser, Howell Tyson, and Dick Van Kerr. Here to speak about the power of a coach for Bert is his grandson, David.
Thank you. As Betsy mentioned, I'm Bert's grandson, and I'm very thrilled to have the honor of accepting this on his behalf, and I'm very sure he would be thrilled were he here to accept it. First, I'd like to say thanks to the athletic department for tracking us down. I apologize that it was so difficult, but finding us 2 generations removed from my grandfather was a bit of a chore, and we found out about this about 10 days ago. And I think the influence that Bert had on our family is reflected in the fact that we had about 20 people here on 10 days' notice. So certainly had an influence on us, and I know from speaking with athletes he coached that he had an influence on them as well. So we've got his son-in-law, 3 or 4 grandchildren, a couple nieces, 3 or 4 great-grandchildren, in-laws, all here to really celebrate this great recognition from Caltech. So between LA High and UCLA and Caltech, my grandfather was a head coach for about 38 years, and 25 of those were at Caltech. In the family, we often think of UCLA and some of his prior accomplishments. He won city championships at LA High, and UCLA and Rosewood. But he really spent more time coaching at Caltech than any place else. And he was very content and he thrived. And I think he knew he wasn't going to win championships at Caltech. But I'm certain he was okay with that, although I expect he didn't share that expectation with his athletes. At his core, he was a coach, and it was for him a lot less about championships and more about teaching and pushing and inspiring people to exceed what they thought it was possible for them to accomplish. I know that one anecdote sister shared is that when he visited us for my high school graduation, he was with us for a week, and he took her to the track every day for a week and taught her how to hurdle. She was a junior in high school. And that coaching led her to be competitive her senior year after a week. Amazing coaching. And I hear stories like that from athletes he's coached. Not just what he knew, but how he could transfer that knowledge to people he was coaching. I really enjoyed watching the video and hearing Alan Kleinsasser's remarks last year about my grandfather's final track meet before he retired in 1973. And it was against Whittier. And I think the likelihood of winning was viewed to be low, but the team discovered that this meet would make the difference, that only if they won this dual meet would he retire with a winning record. So, as you heard, it ended up being 107, 105. The team rallied together, ran events that they didn't normally compete in. Some, I understand that they swore in which they would never compete. But they ended up triumphing by a point in the last meet. So it was a great gift that they gave my grandfather. But it also was reflective, really, of the gift that I think he gave to everyone who coached, was that, to have the experience of beating the odds and pulling together and really redefining what your best is what the impact that he had on people. And I think that impact that I hear extends in the lives of those he's coached far beyond sports. So there's a Native American perspective on death. It's going to get a bit of a down, but anyhow, that I really like, which is that the day you really die is that day on which your name is spoken for the last time. So I've heard his name several times today, and enjoyed talking to people I've met here about my grandfather. And so on behalf of the family, I'd really like to thank you and for keeping him alive in your memories. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of our inductees and our guests. The themes that have emerged from our many speakers are the same. Those of team, those of friendship, those of balance, those of striving, those of process, those of fun and play. And the way in which we approach this afternoon bears that out. So thank you so much to all of our inductees. Thank you to our student speakers. We have just one thing of major importance left to do, and that's to actually enshrine our inductees. So if you would please, if you're an inductee or a representative of an inductee, please come forward and stand here together. Since the doors first opened as Throop University in 1891, the California Institute of Technology has changed conventional perspective in the math and science realm. From the concept of jet propulsion to deep space exploration, the notion of the quark to nanotechnology, Caltech's population of innovative thinkers has collectively changed the world. The mission of Caltech is to expand human knowledge and benefit society while also educating outstanding students to become creative members of society. Intercollegiate athletics has existed on this campus for these outstanding students as a competitive outlet and as a practical support to the philosophy that a sound mind and a healthy spirit reside in one body. With over a century's worth of teams, student athletes, coaches, this athletic department is rich in history. We are here today to honor those who formed that history. This eclectic group encompasses multiple decades, numerous sports, countless accolades, ranging from program record holders to champions and All-Americans. Whereas, the NCAA Division III experience offers participation in a competitive athletic environment that pushes student athletes to succeed on and off the field, and the mission of Caltech is to expand knowledge and benefit society through an integrated education. And the Department of Athletics here passionately supports the philosophy of a sound mind and a healthy spirit in a sound body. Whereas this team and these individuals not only embody the collective mission of the aforementioned, they excelled above and beyond our expectations. And whereas this group represents the rich historic past of Caltech Athletics, I proudly induct them into our Hall of Honor. Thank you all so much. We will stay to have a picture, and then we will conclude our afternoon. I would simply say thank you so much for all of you for coming, and have a great rest of your afternoon, and enjoy the beautiful day in the campus.